All right. I hope everybody's back. Whoop, wrong tool. So our next tool we've talked about was point on curve is the radial tool. The radial tool, once again, uses an occupy and a backside, angle and distance. Uh, if you notice, I didn't mention this on the first one. If there's a drop down here for occupy, if there's no points in there, that means there's no COGO for it to occupy. However, it will let you occupy the points in the drawing. But if you went and stored, say, a point number 1, 2, and a 3, and you want to occupy point 1 and site 3, then those COGO points 1, 2, and 3 will show up in this dialog. So, for example, I'm just going to use this tool here real quick. I'm going to occupy this point. See what I just did? I was getting ready to move my occupier, my backside here, but I failed to tell it what method. So now I want to occupy backside. We'll zoom up here a little bit. And then I'm going to turn 45-degree angle and go 200 feet. And I'm going to store that as a COGO point, and I'm going to call it 20. And I'm just going to call it a CP. It's verifying. It's wanting me to verify that is my intent. I pick it. Now I've got a point there. That's point 20. Verified it there. Now if I come up here, see how it's already showing as a point 20? Now if I go and I pick, since I'm in this tool, I might as well go ahead and show it. If I go ahead and just accept that interior angle or that angle method now, and I pick 200, it's now backsiding where I came from, just like it should. It should do it. You know, it's mimicking what we would do in the field as surveyors. So it just went from occupy out to 20, backside our initial point, and now we're setting another point out here. So that's 21. Now you'll see your dialogue start populating with points. And that's what I was really wanting to illustrate there, was you'll see those. If you drop that down, you'll see both points. So now we could come back and say, okay, well, we want to occupy 20 and backside 21, and we want to turn 180 off of that and go 200. And data accept that, and now we store a point out here. So this tool has some similarities to the old SS2. At least it does give you the ability to traverse like we used to be able to do. Questions about that? All right. Let me jump back to this radial point method here. So once again, I'm actually just going to tell it select the radial command. I'm going to select my occupy. I'm going to select my backside. I'm going to tell it I want to go 45 degrees at 200. I'm going to store these at 1,000. And they're going to be, I don't know, edge of shoulder. I don't care what they, we can name them edge of shoulder. Oop. Wow, I don't like that. I did that. I was okay with that. Distance 200. So it's storing that point there. Wow, Why did it do that? Oh, I did say 45. Let me try that again. I'm going to say 90. No. Let me try that with a 60. Okay. Okay, so there's 60. And what I was going to try to illustrate was that I can just keep changing the angle. So there's 60. I want to go 90. See, I don't have, it holds my setup. So as long as I don't get out of that tool, it holds my setup, and that's what I was trying to illustrate. So there's 90. If I want to do 110, I just key in 110, left click to accept it, left click to accept the distance, and now it's advanced to 110. I can do a 130, accept it, accept my distance, and now I'm setting a point at 130. So if you need to go along and set some points radially for something, and if you have the radius point set, and say, let's say you want to set some points along a curve or something, you know, maybe you need to, you can set on the radius, cite something, PT or PC or whatever, and you can set your points radially from there. Let's see what it does if I give it a negative angle. Negative 120. Why did it go all the way over there? Oh, it went back to my original backside. That's why. So now I can come off a negative the other direction. If I put in negative, it goes back to my backside, and then it takes that negative 120 off the backside. So it actually puts me over in the southwest quadrant based on my backside. Clear as mud. All right. Any questions on that tool? Really, that takes us through all those tools and to the end of that PowerPoint. So, any questions or comments about these tools? Does everybody feel like we've got tools now that you can do some of your boundary work with that we didn't have in SS10? Come on, John. I know you got to say something.
It's just the same, just trying to find where everything's at.
Yeah. Well, that's the one tool. This locate points command feature tool, whatever you want to call it. I thought it wasn't there before. I don't think so. It was a nice addition. This traverse. Now, you were asking about being able to locate curves. Let me draw. I'm gonna try to put in alignment real quick. I'm just putting in arc element. All right. I should have truncated that. Let me try again. There we go. Okay. So now let's complex that. Complex by element. I'll do an auto. I'll go ahead and change the feature definition to geometry scratch. Just like always. You can go ahead and pick this first one and go through and select them all. And now we have your geometry scratch like we've had in the past. And how I got to that was all right-hander complex by element. I'm just complexing the three segments there, the tangent, the curve, the tangent. And then before I complex it, which I could have done it when I drew the line and the arc, I could have went in and switched over to, I could have assigned it the feature definition then. I just forgot to. But I also had the opportunity right here too. So I went in and assigned it feature definition. Now I left it geometry scratch for a name, so, but that's fixable. If you make that mistake, once you complex it, just come back in here to your properties and let's just change it to, whoop, make sure you don't get out of that window. Otherwise it won't change. Road 1. And just accept it. Now if we go back to the properties, it's road 1 and it's still scratch. Okay, so we've complexed it. Now we just need so I'm going to do a start station. We'll just call it 0. Zero station here. If we want to look at the report, we can look at the geometry report. Oh, wait a minute, wrong one. No, I don't want to pick that one. Report, should be a report under here. Yeah, right here. So you're stationing 0. Now, remember, same as before, you have to set this format to our traditional format for our stationing we use. You're going to hit close. Or if you want to show bearings. So you have starting point, the PC, all the curve data, and then the ending point out of the PT. Just like before. So you have that. Now, if I want to actually assign stationing, so you can see the stationing, we would just pick this, and I'd just change the feature definition. Go back to feature definition, slide up to alignment, existing. That's typically what we use. And so now it's created that. Now, Kevin,
Yes, Jim.
what's the thing we have to do to make that stationing pop up? I didn't forget now. Let me get out of this for a second.
Sorry, say again, Jim. I didn't hear you.
What was it? What was the command I had to get the stationing to come up?
What you got to do is you got to go to the annotation, just like you annotate a point.
That's right. Civil labeler. Right?
No, actually, no, not that. He canceled that. Actually, just element annotation, and then just all elements in model. Just left click, and it should. There you go.
Okay,
It's just that. It's just that easy, Jim.
Yeah. I'd forgotten. I was focused on all the new tools and
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how you do it now, John, Homer, and Brent.
And the good thing about that way is if you change the annotation scale, it changes as well. It's not like the old GPK where you had to reprocess something. It's fully annotation, fully annotation aware.
Now, and Kevin, they were asking about storing points, making sure they can still do their alignment that way. They want to still store off that. It's still the same. We want to store a point off of this alignment. We have to activate Civil AccuDraw, and then we have to go to locate point, reference.
Yeah, you'll have to get Civil AccuDraw going. You'll have to select the alignment, but getting Civil AccuDraw to start is a little challenging sometimes. So reference element. Now with that point tool, though, I think there is an option in there. No, that's the elevation mode. Rotation mode. You got to watch your rotation.
90 off of this, but it doesn't tell you the stationing. This is the wrong point.
Yeah, I think you would just be in the regular just store point tool, and then get just like that. Leave everything off, and then if you can get Civil AccuDraw going, there's a trick to it, and I don't know the trick myself yet, but it sometimes you think it's going, and then you just can't find the prompts. And I think Shannon knows the trick. I need to get that from him. But you would think as soon as you start that point tool that Civil AccuDraw would be popping up there, but yeah, you can still store it with Civil AccuDraw, where you identify the alignment and it'll have the stationing and offset on your cursor. So
yeah, I don't know why it's not popping up. Can't get it to pop up though. We don't have to be in road, do we? No, we shouldn't have to be in road.
I'm going to try it on my computer real quick and see if I can get it to pop up. So
okay. Nope. Hang with me, John. We'll figure it out here in a minute.
tell you what, I might actually go get Shannon and see if because I think he knows the trick to get it to pop open. So I'll be right back.
Okay. What other question you got, John?
We're thinking.
Oh, okay. Start saying if you're talking, you're still muted. But yeah, no.
We're
we
sitting
can
here discussing and discussing, and
like I mentioned, I can get this to you. Hang on here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have a manual. Doesn't have all the new tools in it, but we can get it put in there. But it's a manual that we've taken the SS10 and we've revised it for ORD, and it shows all the ORD screen captions and commands and things like that to do everything in ORD that you used to do in SS10. It covers, and I can send that to you. It covers terrain models. It covers importing survey data, building those terrain models, and it also covers the horizontal geometry function as well. So yeah, I was planning to give that to you. The only thing it won't have in it, because Kevin mentioned, he said, hey, you forgot your annotation, is talking about that annotation and this new command, locate point command, and the transform tool. I didn't know how much people would use the transform tool. I think you'll run into a situation you'll probably have it. It just won't be. You probably won't use it that often, but you'll have something. It'll be a lifesaver when it comes
We
to.
use the transform tool with alignments all the time.
Every day.
Okay.
All the time.
Okay.
Because
So
we
then,
translate, we make an alignment, we'll translate that over to where we need it at on a known point. Like if we do a station offset with the right-of-way markers and stuff, like one on one end and one on the other, we'll transform that whole chain points over and put that on a right-of-way marker, and then we'll rotate that into the other right-of-way markers to see how alignment lines up with the other right-of-way markers that we've already shot. So we do the translation and rotation all the time.
Okay. So that's good. Then that tool, you'll use that tool then.
I did have one question though. When you brought in the aerial,
yes,
that's only in state plane. What about you do? Because we bring aerials in, but we always assign the projection factor.
Yeah, no, that works the same way. Here, let me just go back.
Same way? Okay.
Yep. I just did state plane because that's what my data set was in. But if I come over here and I pick, either I pick one that I've defined or one like what you've created. You can pick that. I'll pick this one that's in Cole County.
It's the same. It's the same thing. That's all I wanted to know. We can still go through the same way. Okay.
Yep. And it'll pop right in. Right there it is.
Yep, that's the same way I bring it in, so that's fine.
That must be a new alignment because I've never seen that road before.
That is. We're proposing that road through the ball field. We're going to turn it all into a golf course. Hey, John, Homer. Brent.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I think Shannon kind of showed me the trick.
Okay.
So I'm going to request control, if that's all right.
Sure.
So the icon for Civil AccuDraw is sitting right there. And he says, if you can't get that thing to open up properly, grab it down here and drag it up onto your desktop. And I don't know if I can do that or not with this remote control, but I want to see if I can grab it again here. If I can, I'm going to let you do it, Jim. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so he says drag it up there, and if you go into geometry and you're doing something like point, like you're trying to do,
right,
and you toggle it on, and it does not respond. Let's see if it's going to respond. It's not responding right now, so I'm going to toggle it. Okay, it's going now. So he says the main thing is to drag it out and put it on your desktop and then start it up there. So don't leave it down there and toggle it on.
Okay.
So he's got Civil AccuDraw now, and it's looking for you to do a reference. Actually, let's try the point tool again here. And what's it asking us for? Locate reference element for rotation. See, we're not rotating, so I wonder why it's
pick the store point
none
off of alignment. Store that.
There we go. There, I just had to turn off the rotation. So,
okay.
But there you got the Civil AccuDraw, and that's how you'll identify it by hitting the if you do the offset option. So you tab a name. Now this is saying profile offset. That's not correct either. So I'm wondering.
You need to go to your right. Isn't it that one with the green line?
It could be. I'll let you take over. I can't. It's kind of small on my on the cancel control.
All right. So if you come up here and you pick this little tool here, I don't know if I can make it any bigger, but it's just like in the old one. It's the double line, and then if you hit the
O button in the offset field.
you hit the O, it's wanting to know what the reference alignment is going to be. You select your reference alignment, and now you have a station. So if I want to store a point at 5 + 0, 0, tab it, and I want to go 100 foot left, or let's say 50 foot left. I guess it'd be a negative.
Negative. Yeah, it'd be negative.
And profile offset 0, so we're not offsetting the profile. And my stationing didn't hold, so I'm going to go back up and hit enter to lock it. And there's my point right there. And because I did not assign it a feature definition, it made a little old dot. So don't forget to assign that. So let me try that again. And feature definition, point, design, miscellaneous. We'll pick Kogo. I'm going to assign it 2000. I'm going to give it bore 1. And then I'm going to give it a 5 + 0, 0, enter. I'm going to give it a -50, enter. And it's out there, and now it's stored a point. Hit the F4, come out here. Have to zoom in a little bit. And there's your 2000 bore 1. Has a 0 elevation because I did not give it an elevation, but I could have. So it still has the same functionality in the alignment as well as it.
For every point, right?
What's that?
It won't. We got to do that for every point every time, right?
Storing it that way.
See on the other one, it brought up a box. You could auto increment. You could go down to the bottom, put your 5 + 0, 0 in, -50, set that point, and it automatically went to another point. You could say 5 + 0, 0, 50. It would set to the other point, and it would auto increment, and you could just go down the line doing it that way.
We use that point daily.
We use state, store point on element all the time. So if we have to do this every time we want to store a point off an element, that's going to spend a lot of time going through all this stuff. You can even give it a feature code off of the old SS10 in that box. So we could store it as a 71 or a 70 or whatever we wanted to store that point at, or not store it at any code name.
You're talking about this command right here. It's called equal space point. Along an element, interval, what your interval is, what station you want to start at, what station you want to end at, what your offset's going to be, and if you want to assign an elevation to it.
Nail that.
Now, the spacing wouldn't be what we would do.
We would put a station in there. Right.
Because we would that would change to a none. We don't need any spacing because you might have a 5 + 0, 0, 50 foot, and then you might have 5 + 20, and then you'd have 5 + whatever, storing station right away off that center line chain.
So you're just basically storing points off an alignment, all just going down using Civil AccuDraw, just doing one after another.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I noticed that we have been typing in point number whatever, and then the next time you store a point, it forgets that and goes back to Kogo point. But it will increment Kogo point. But I need to ask Bentley why they switched that up, because it would remember the last point you stored and increment it up from that. So I'm trying.
Right.
There might be some setting that we're missing, but
You know, just like
How often do we store points at an even increment, though? I mean, I've looked at many plans, and none of them are at even increments. It's 5 plus 56, 38 feet off.
Exactly.
I don't know why we would need a tool that does it, at
Yeah,
certain increments.
I think that tool can be used like in the bridge office where they do 10th point shots across the top of a beam. But on survey, I wouldn't know if you would need that. So
if you looked at the SS10 box and, store point on element, that's what we use all the time.
The old Kogo is actually.
The old Kogo is
actually like SS2 stuff.
Well, SS2, whatever it is.
So
now,
I don't think
are you using old Kogo tools in SS10?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you won't.
She gone.
She gone.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, so it wasn't a feature in SS10, it was a feature in SS2 that was just brought forward.
Right.
Yeah, some of those features that feature may be gone.
It is. Well, we really like it, use it a lot, so
yeah. I mean, we can ask for it. I mean,
whatever workaround you can get for it. If we can't have that, maybe there's some other option there to speed it up, because what we were just showing is a little bit cumbersome for us, and it's going to be timely to do, because we create these alignments and all these right-of-way breaks we create the alignments and the right-of-way offsets for all the bridge surveys and everything we do. So we use that command quite often.
Okay.
Whatever you can do would be great. We're just pointing it out.
Yeah, we're just pointing it out that.
Sure. Well, I was a bit confused. It was like, I'm looking for that tool. I'm like, I don't remember the tool, but I wasn't doubting you. And then when you said old Kogo, and then I realized we were referring to two different things.
But I'm a little confused still too. So when you store those points with the old tool, you do it one at a time though, right?
We do it at one at a time, but it auto increments.
Yeah, okay. So if you can get the auto increment, you'll be happy.
In that box, it auto increments. We don't have to go back into that box again.
Hey, Jim, it's not that. Jim, it's not that tool. It's not that tool. It's just a regular point tool. So if you went into the regular point tool and see if you went down to where it says name, it says Kogo point for the name.
Mm-hmm.
So if you change that to like 100 or 3,000 or whatever, and you store that, the next time it comes up, it goes right back to Kogo point, and that's what they want fixed. Is they want it to be 3001, 3002, 3003, and it used to do that in SS10. And I don't know if it's some setting that we have in here that's not working right or what. We'll have to look into that and try to figure out what's going on with that. And if not, we'll have to file a bug with Bentley. So.
Oh, I thought they were okay. I thought.
But go ahead and store that 3,000 point, Jim. You'll see that it goes right back to Kogo point.
Yep.
See? Okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll look into that, guys.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. I was looking for a tool that actually stored the points. I was like, okay.
Right. You can like pick that chain.
Yeah, you pick that chain and then store along that chain.
Right.
But that's basically what you're doing with Civil AccuDraw, because you identify the chain first, and then you can just start typing stations and offsets off of it. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, what else would you like to see?
Did you show them the normal import, Jim, of just a rec file and how easy it is? And
yeah, I was going to show them. Yes. So I'm going to close out of this drawing. Actually, I'm just going to do a file open. And one other thing, I forgot. Arc to chord, curve definition. To change it from arc to chord, we do that I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to slide this over a little bit, hopefully. Try to center my window more. Come over to your File command. Come down to Settings. Go into File. Because what we're changing is a file setting command, not a user command. So it's a file command. Go to Design File Settings. It's really just like it was in the same location as before. It's just now we're using a different interface, and so you got to look at it that way. But it's still under Design File Settings. It's still under Civil Formatting, and it's in the Radial settings here. And you just pick between arc and chord.
But you can't have both of them in the same drawing.
Yeah, you can. You just have to remember to switch. As you're building it, you'll have to toggle between the two.
Okay.
Unless I'm missing something, Kevin. That hasn't changed, has it?
Sorry, I was looking at something else. You guys talking about this, the option to switch from arc to chord?
Well, having the combination of arc and chord in the same drawing, that's still...
You
awesome.
Can do that. Yeah, you just have to switch this setting before you store the curve.
Right.
So if you had a chord curve and then an arc curve and a chord curve, you just have to switch it right before you store it. So you can have a single alignment with arc and chord in the same alignment if you wanted to, but again, you just have to change it here first. So, and we asked years ago for them to move this into the tool, to just like, back in the old Kogo stuff, you could switch in the tool from chord to arc very easily, and they took that out for whatever reason and never put it back. So
they need to put it back.
Yeah, we keep harping on it, and they keep looking at us funny. So, but we're one of the few states that use both arc and chord, supposedly. So.
Okay, so let me do a file open. Check in. I'll just do a free command real quick. And pick my survey drawing. I got to pick a 3D drawing. Go to 2D. Check that in. Okay. All right. So to bring in a data set, nothing's changed. You saw me bring it in earlier. You saw me come over here. You still do your File Explorer. We can pin it. Open up your survey, your default. Right-click on Field Book. Do a new Field Book. So open up Field Book, and it shows your new Field Book. We still have the ability to rename that Field Book just by right-clicking. Go to Properties, and we can change the Field Book right here. And we see Demo 1. We right-click, And we can do a file import. I'll pick one of these files here and hit OK. And as you can see, it pulls it in just like before. Everything is still set the way SS10 was set, where terrain models have to be built manually. We did not turn that back on. We left it that way. You're still creating the terrain model, exporting the terrain model. You're still creating the graphics file, or I'm sorry, the survey mapping, exporting it as a graphics just like before, and doing all the merging and merging of the terrain models to build one master terrain, and then also merging the graphics file and referencing subsequent files, merging into master to build the final geometry or break lines and things like that for the designer. That hasn't changed. It's probably a good way to show you the annotation again, right here. If we go to, I might have to move my drawing. Oh no, I can do right here. So annotation. This is why we don't, I'm sorry, decoration. I'm saying annotation, but I meant decoration. This is why we don't annotate everything, because of all of this would wind up being on your drawings, and then you would have to deal with turning that on and off. This way it's there, it doesn't print, it doesn't come through. If your designers don't want to see it, they don't have to see it, they just turn it off. And it doesn't make your speed of your drawing slow down. So once again, we just kept the decoration for mapping features, and we placed the annotation on control survey features, basically those 69 through 79. You still can just turn off certain things. You can turn off that. You can turn off the name to where all you have is elevations. Another way you can pull a data set in is we still have the field book command. If you're used to this here, by all means, keep using it. If you want to try out the field book command works as well. You would just do File, and you pick field book. I'm going to pick my demo field book, and then I can pick number 17 and bring in 17 into that field book. And now we have data set 17 brought in, which was this data set right here. Run through that again. So I pick File, Import. I come over to my dialog and pick my field book. And then I come over and pick my data set. And there's my 19 data set. Now, I can delete this field book and show you the field book option, their new field book option, as well. So we also can build a new field book this way too. We do new field book. This feature will allow you to name your field book without having to go back and go to properties. So if you do new field book and I want to put on here J5P3181, I can name it, hit enter to accept it, or left click to accept it. And now I have that field book in there. I can come in and bring one of those files back in. And there's your files. Any question on your data set, bring your data set in. Terrain model, still the same. If we want to build a terrain model based on the data set or on the field book, that command's right here. You just have to right click on your field book, create terrain model, and it creates the terrain model. We can data set 1 and we don't do break lines. Wasn't that element, Kevin?
Sorry, Jim, I was watching Bill's part. What's going on?
Wasn't the creating it? Can't we create a terrain from elements?
Yeah, you do. I got to put a selection set out there, and then remember they added the option of you got to hold down the control key when you do that. So
That's right.
Why they did that, I'm not for sure, but it's something you just have to remember.
Yeah. So if I just go and select it, and then I come up and I pick from element, well, it held at that time.
Or from selection set, I think you're going to do it from the field book. You're creating a terrain, right?
Yes.
So you're going to create from field book selection set, but you got to have the control key down when you put that fence around it. You can hold the control key down. Yeah. Well, now you see you keep losing it. Hold the control key.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to hold it all the way through.
I believe you got to hold it all the way down the whole entire time, if I remember correctly.
That's why. Okay.
It's
you have
bizarre.
to continue holding the control key until you've already selected, until you select to create from selection set.
I believe that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't. It keeps losing it.
That threw for a week, and then I finally had to call Bentley and find out what the heck's going on. But
yeah. So let me run through that again. All right. So I want to build a terrain model in this selection set. Hold the control key down. Select the data you want to build a terrain on. Left click, drag across it, release it, highlight it. Continue holding the control key. Right click on field book. Continue holding the control key. Left click, selection set, terrain creation. Continue holding the key until you select it. And then once you've selected it, you can release the control key. And I don't know if you caught it this morning, but I think it was Shannon or one of them was talking about the boundary around your terrain models. Now, instead of having that magenta boundary, now all that outside boundary matches whatever feature definition you have assigned. So since we have existing triangles, it's a green line. If we go to an existing boundary, it's a gray, or is it green? No, it's green. No.
it's green. It's green. You just got to go down to the bottom. You'll see it better. So
Yeah, so it's green. If we go and switch it to get that up where I can get to it. We switch it to from existing to let's just say design boundary. It's yellow. So there is that change. All the terrain tools are up under the terrain tab. A lot of your terrain tools, if your command is editing, you just hit the edit and they pop up here. Your complex, you're building a complex tool. Oh, and you have a transformation. You can transform a terrain model. That's a good tool. I got to try that on Fred's job. Fred's got a job I need to do that. I'm gonna try that You still have some of the point volumes are all there. Export to a file. If you want to take it to a GeoPack 10 or a LandXML, hopefully we're not working with 10s with anyone. What else? Your editing tools to do your line editing or mapping is under the edit command. You still have your break, your close, your join, your move, your transpose, transform. That's all still there. They all still work the same way. Nothing has changed on those. Yeah, that tool. Why won't it let me? There we go. Move it down here a little bit so I can see it. Your drawing production. Here's your annotation. Your drawing. If you just want to place a simple line, it's out here as well. If you want to trim, intersect, measure a distance, you still have your distance tools. Still measures just like it did before. Still have your region tools if you used any of those. Your attributes, you can change those still just like before. That's all under drawing. I guess you can think of it as, if it says drawing, it has to do with MicroStation. Geometry, terrain are COGO features. Edits, COGO, edit, because it is a surveying workflow. Edit's going to be more of a COGO feature or a civil type feature or terrain model. Analyze, that's going to be your reports, your media files, your decorations, and there is some measuring tools out here as well. Your details pane, that details pane looks like it only shows up under the field book. Generally, when you're looking at it, is when you're looking at different features within the field book, because you have to highlight whatever category you're looking for, like point feature, linear features. Once you have one of those selected, then you can turn on your details, and that's where it is. So that's kind of how you got to think about it. It's like, well, are we doing a field book function? And if so, the tool is probably under field book. If we're working with terrains, it's under terrain. Geometry is going to cover all the COGO. And then the drawing production is going to be more of MicroStation. The utilities, I think the only thing in there that you would have used would have been the coordinate geometry. But like I mentioned, I had Chad move that out to the front because I wanted everyone to not have to dig for it. Plus, I wanted everybody to get used to setting their coordinate system if they hadn't already. Obviously, collaborate. We won't use any of that. View, here's your, once again, think of view. This is how you can present whatever you're looking at. There's your window, your zoom in, your fit view, just like you have out here already. These are the actual tool palettes of additional things you can do when it comes to view. Once again, these are more MicroStation tools. And then your home is a lot of your basic tools that, like your attach references, your raster your point cloud's still the same. Nothing's changed there. You pick your, my tool's on the other window. Pick your point cloud tool. You still come in, do your attach, do your pod file, just like always. Reality Mesh, I don't know that we've had anything with that yet, so maybe in the future. Models, we don't do any of that. Your layers, levels, it's right here on your home screen under primary. That's your key and command and some of the other shortcuts that you may or may not use. There's your AccuDraw. You can toggle it on there. I don't know if it's out here anywhere or not. Don't look like it. So it looks like only you got your, if you want your AccuDraw toggled on, you got toggled on right here. I'm curious. Yeah, it was not there anymore. Remember the old tool where you can do like the, I think it was the Shift M, and then you can key in your distance and direction that you want to traverse the line? It doesn't, it's not there now. Well, wait, when I say that, 100. Let me pick a line here. Hold on. I want to try something. Yeah, I guess you can. It's right here. You just hit the Shift M and it toggles between X, Y, or distance and direction.
I think if you hit the the space bar, it changes it too. I think. Maybe not. It used to in SS10.
Huh. You can see all the standards here that we've got.
Yeah, it's not changing it.
Okay, it must be something different then.
Okay, so I don't know how much you use that. I used to use it quite a bit. I would draw out my plats or my tracts of land, and then if whatever corners I found, I'd start rotating things around to it and adjusting my lines to match my found monuments. Kevin, is there anything I'm missing?
Sorry, I think you got it for the most part. Everything. Now, one thing they got to realize is an SS10 survey file cannot just be opened up in ORD, and you can't really copy between the data sets.
That's right.
So if any jobs get, if anybody, from what I understand, there's going to be a lot of people from Northeast just starting a project fresh in ORD, but they might have survey data. And so if there is, I'm going to find out what projects those are, and I will let you guys know which ones those are. And I will ask you for what the survey data is, and I will upgrade it to ORD. And there's also a conversion process that needs to be done on the file. And it's just basically converting the old feature definitions from SS10 to ORD feature definitions. But you just realize you just can't give an SS10 file to someone that's going to use ORD. It just won't work. The survey file looks like a big blob of red because that's what it comes in as default, a red color. So all your nice pavement lines, they all come in solid red lines, and you can tell real quickly that it needs to be converted. So I'll try to coordinate with you guys on what projects are going to be going to ORD. From what I understand, there won't be any conversion projects up there. They're either going to stay in SS10 until the project's done, or they're going to start fresh in ORD, but again, there might be some survey work that, even though they haven't started on the project, the survey stuff might be done already. So, but again, I'll try to coordinate with you guys as best I can. But if it does go to ORD, you'll have to, and if they have additional survey work, you can continue surveying in that file that I convert, because once I convert it, you're good to go to keep on surveying it, or you can start a new survey file if you want. So.
Yeah, Kevin, wouldn't Homer probably needs to talk with design and find out what projects are going to be designed in ORD, so if he needs to know which ones of his files he's currently working in that he needs to get converted, and then
I hope they have that information tomorrow, and I will try to organize with Homer on that, because Joe McNeil's going to try to organize his group, and I'm going to ask Erin to kind of organize her group and let me know what projects are going where, if they're staying in SS10 until they get done, and who's going to ORD, and if there's any survey work that's been done already in those jobs. So, but I'll try to organize with Homer on that. So,
okay, and it won't go backwards. When we go ORD, we can't go backwards to 10, correct?
That would be, it'd be a hard process.
Okay.
I'm not saying it can't be done, but it'd be a harder process.
So,
Jim.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. Where do you find when you're changing layers, say property line to a quarter section line, quarter line, section line? We can right now we go into design or our survey stuff, pick the line, and that puts it on the where it needs to be, the line level, the weight, and everything like that.
Right.
Where's that at?
So you're saying you've surveyed in the section lines, and you drew the section lines in?
We got 2 points there. That's a section line. We want to put that section line in by smart line on the correct layer, on the correct weight, on the correct stuff.
Gotcha. All right. So we have to go to, that is going to be under detail standards. Oh, standards.
You're
no,
in the project.
No, wrong spot. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You might click on the project explorer.
It is. Dang it! It's kind of locked up now. But okay. Wrong one. Survey. Where is?
I don't think it's in Project Explorer, Jim. So, or the Explorer thing.
See, I thought it was in here as a drop down.
I don't think that's. I think it's in that kind of setting is in Chad's drawing area, I believe. Can you select that line and define the feature definition that way? That's without having to go into that, do all that work, or so is there a feature definition option in there anywhere on that element?
No.
Okay. Can you set it to have a feature definition? I'm wondering.
I can set it. I mean, I can, but we don't have a section line feature, do we? Well,
Chad might have it in his. I can go ask Chad real quick. Let me go get him real quick, okay?
Okay. I could have swore there was that's not it though.
Okay, Jim, I got Chad.
Okay. Chad, where is it that we define
Right
the
there.
attributes for a line?
Right there. I found it.
Where?
The attributes
Like I
for
say,
line.
I found it.
To create that into a section line.
Yeah, if I want to, set the levels and the line
Right.
style and
Oh, go to the workflow up at the top.
yeah. Oh,
MoDOT CAD detailing.
Yeah.
that's
I mean, that would set your attributes up for it. So if
Yeah.
you went like survey and whatever, if you're just doing if you just want the microstation attributes of it, we're not talking about the civil side of it.
That's all they want, yeah.
Yeah, if you go down through there, and I don't know, if you go to the codes, it should have it like LiDAR.
I found what we use, I guess you would say. If you go in under the MoDOT CAD detailing, go under design,
Okay,
go over to CAD standards design.
Yep.
And if you go up to the top row, third one from the left, you can bring that down, that drop down, and like right away, it has all that right away, existing, new, all that stuff. That gives you.
So if you select one of those, that would set that up so you can place that line. But if you want to change it, what you would need to do is set up your attributes. Well, right now it's going to bring up the suggested tool to use the Smart Line tool. So you can go out there and place it and it will look just fine. But if you want to change the attributes of that existing line that's out there, since you've selected it, it'll load up the attributes up there at the top where you see like the section line level section line, the correct level, style, and weight. If you go back up to your workflows and change that to something else, I think survey would probably have it. And if you look at, keep going to your right, Jim. Keep going, right back to your left. It's in the modify section.
Oh, the painter's palette.
Painter's palette. Select that and go to that first one that says change text attribute, or excuse me, yeah.
Yeah, you got toggle.
Toggle that. You have to toggle on what you want to change. You don't have anything toggled on right now.
So you probably just check them all. Or
you just check those all.
All we need it for is to put in that existing right-of-way line. We don't need to change a line that we've already got. We're using this as a smart line to go from point to point.
Right.
That'll work.
What I showed you is how to get to the tool, and it brings up the suggested tool. But if you have an existing line out there, you can modify that line after the fact.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. Okay.
You can even do a smart match, couldn't you? From if you already had it defined on one line, you do a smart match. And then,
You can do a smart match.
You can do that too. That's what I would do. So good.
We're good. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Jed.
What else, John?
Give us time. We'll have more for you.
All right. Good. 5 more minutes. No, I'm kidding. Now, Kevin, they're going to have ORD when they leave this. Chris has pushed it over.
Well, they tested it out the other day already when they went into Project Wise and opened up a file. So everyone has both SS10 and ORD, but again, you can't, once we start in ORD, you can't mix and match. It's got to be, if the project's in ORD, you got to work in ORD, and if the project's in SS10, you got to work in SS10. So,
gotcha. Now,
slowly but surely, these SS10 projects will go away because we're just letting them finish out projects and not starting new ones. So,
okay. I have a question. And maybe you do or don't know, but I'm going to bring it up.
I'm assuming you're talking to Homer on this one.
No, I'm talking to you, Ken. Okay, so we talked about STIP and non-STIP this morning, I think. Non-STIP or non-project related, so like your excess right-of-way stuff, things like that's going to go in the non-STIP area?
For the most part, it's basically just a watered down work area that only has like one folder in it or something like that, where the other one has all the, has bridge, design, and survey, where the non-STIP ones really only have like one folder, and you work in that one folder. So it's just a watered down one.
Okay. That's what I was assuming.
Typically, we will be setting all that up. So if it's a STIP job, we'll be asking for what job number it is, and if it's a non-STIP, I don't know how we're gonna name those, but again, we'll be setting those work areas up, both non-STIP and STIP.
Okay, that was my next question.
They'll have to contact us to do that.
The other question is for Homer and his group. When you do excess right-of-way, do you guys call it NE, then whatever the excess number is, or you guys just, how do you name those?
They usually give us an NE number.
Okay.
Like NE-0527, or like an excess parcel number.
Okay. So you could do that. I mean, Kevin, is that going to cause a problem? Is somebody going to mistake that for a STIP job? And the reason why I ask that is since we're going to an NE prefix on STIP jobs, or the district identifier for the STIP jobs, do we need to consider talking to right away and see if they'll go with like an NER?
Yeah, you might talk to Chris and Steve about that and see what we got to do, because I could see that being a little confusing. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they just changed this job number thing like just recently on us,
Right.
so we're
Right.
kind of figuring it out as we go. So.
Okay. John, anything else? I pick on John because he's the one that would be the most vocal.
Yeah, I got the phone on my desk, so.
Oh, okay.
Jim, we appreciate all you and Kevin did to try to get all the survey aspects back in there that we needed and required. So we do realize that you all went through a lot of effort to do that, and we do appreciate what you've done for us on this.
Well, thank you. I'm just glad there wasn't a big change for you. Makes it a little easier for you to transition in. That SS2 to SS10 was a big one, and this one's not. Other than just having to learn maybe where everything's at, but I think that'll go pretty quick for you. But
how long is it going to get to get jobs set up in this? Your end. If we can't make a job in ORD, then how long is it going to take for us to get a job set up?
It should be a same day deal. You request it, we should be able to create that work area very quickly for you. So I'd be shocked if it would take more than a day. So.
And something you might think about too, John, Homer, is if you've got like projects like are coming up, like maybe 3 or 4 bridge replacements or bridge surveys you're going to be doing, but you haven't started them, and they're going to go, you could always ask us, to go ahead and get those set up, couldn't they, Kevin?
Yeah, that would be the thing to do if you could.
Yeah.
But again, it's such it's not a very hard process to create a work area. It takes us maybe 5 minutes to do it. So, and we're going to be tomorrow. We're going to be, or this whole next week, we'll be pretty focused on getting you guys set up and going. So, but after that first week, again, you just send a request down to us, and we should be able to get that set up pretty quickly for you. So.
There's going to be like 3 or 4 people able to do it, so hopefully. And Kevin, has has Chris or Steve thought about setting up maybe email?
Yeah, that would be. I don't. That's a good question. We'll send something out on that. We got to get with Chad and Chris and Steve about that. I don't know if they have something already in mind, but I don't know of it yet. So, but just a simple email to CAD support saying, "Hey, I need this ORD project set up."
Yeah.
So would work as well, and we could call you if we needed more information.
Yeah, that would work.
But I'll definitely, like I said, try to keep you guys in sync with what's going to ORD and what's staying in SS10, and so you guys know where the files are going to be at. So, and if I do have to convert a survey file up, I will probably leave what's in SS10 in SS10 and not mess with it, because I have to basically export it out, upgrade the files, and then import them back into ProjectWise, but on the ORD side. So the SS10 files will still be there if you need to go back for some reason, but we prefer you not to work in SS10 if it's an ORD job. So.
Well, when you're quiet, you got anything?
I'm just sitting here enjoying the good talk.
Yeah. Of course. So, John, it's unrelated to this, but did you get your airports all laid out? Everybody was happy? No planes crashed or anything?
Really? No planes crashed?
Yeah, he was happy as a lark with what we did, so.
All right, good deal.
Wasn't real hard.
No. Well,
we'll just put you on speed dial for this.
Yeah. Melvin would be perfect. No. Yeah, just give us a holler. Kevin, myself. Melvin's still getting trained up, so he'll try, but he'll probably have to reach out to one of us if you happen to call him. He's going to have to go through some training to get up to speed where everybody's at. Unless somebody's got anything else, I'm actually going to go ahead and, Kevin, do you want to go ahead and stop the recording, and we can sit and chat, but I don't know that we need to record it.
Just tell them we're done. Thanks, John. Just tell them we're done. Thanks.
Yeah, we're good on everything, Jim. So.
Okay. All right, I stopped the recording. Yeah. So, if you have anything, just give us a holler.
Okay.
We'll be here. I'm not going to keep you on here any longer than we have to. So, I guess, hey, Kevin.
Yeah, Jim.
Is there anything else that we need to do before we let them go? I mean,
I don't think so. I think they're all good. They just want to check in their file, close out a microstation and check in their files. They'll be, if they have them out. So
I think they were watching me the whole time.
Okay.
They were all kind of huddled around one spot, or you sharing the same phone. So
okay.
I assume they were just going to watch.
No, I'm checking mine in.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, good.
How do you think I found where you thought you knew where the levels were at?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. See? You don't need to call me. Homer, you don't need to call me. Just reach across the room and ask John.
I do every day.
Yeah, there you go.
We all help each other here.
That's right.
Homer, do y'all think y'all are going to be able to get some of this GPS on benchmark stuff done?
We haven't been asked.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask him about that, Melvin. Go ahead, Melvin. You the lead now. Go ahead. Hey, honestly, I kid you not. If you guys have the time, we'll talk about it now.
We don't have the time today, but
okay.
Get this information.
Okay.
We'll always be glad to help if we can.
Sure. I don't know how much.
I've got a spreadsheet of all the monuments up in that area that they want, and how many observations on each one, and got it separated out by counties. And I'll get a kind of a spreadsheet together that would tell you, what you need to do, what pictures you need to take, what you need to write down, what sheet you'll fill out for
And
that.
in the plan view, you can go over here again.
Somebody's got something on in the
Brings that up
background.
again. You can go through and
That's Kevin.
add that
Hey,
north
Kevin,
arrow.
can you mute?
There we go.
Changing that workflow.
Anyway, send it over to Melvin. We'll
I
take a
don't know if
look
they
at
got that in here. I need to go first.
Okay,
Get
I'll
that,
send it to you, and then we can discuss it later
I
on.
want to get AccuDraw up and running because it's like to clean up.
Good job, man. I like that.
It's there.
Somebody mute that, Kevin. God bless him.
Might have to do the same thing here.
The rest of the weekend like normal.
There we go. We got rid of
Hey,
Kevin.
I figured out how to mute him without him.
You just click on him and
Yeah. But yeah, Homer, he'll get that. Melvin will get that to you. One thing I will ask though, do you have those 2-meter tripods?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we have to use those.
For you.
And it looks like a lot of yours up there are just single occupations. So, you all could really knock out a bunch of them fairly easily just by one occupation on them at a time, or one occupation and be done.
How long's the occupations?
4.5 hours.
Oh, shit.
How much?
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours. Is that
but
BRS?
No,
No.
static sessions. And I'll send you a thing, and it tells you everything about it.
Yeah.
And what you need to do. But I mean, you could take multiple receivers out in the morning if you had 3 or 4 of them. Take them out, set up 2 or 3, 3 or 4 of them, and if you do them all in one county, they're all close to each other, and then just drive between them all and make sure nobody's messing with your stuff. You can.
Yeah, we need to babysit them.
That's a problem. We
Okay, I understand.
Just like St. Louis and every place else, people see something and they think, oh, hey, I'm going to take that because it'll get me some money.
That's for men.
Okay, maybe 2 or 3, and everybody sit by one for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I think so.
Or if you worked a long day, you could do, if 3 of you went out, you could do 6 of them, two 4.5 occupations, and knock them out.
We will check with Jared. Jared, our boss, is pretty particular on what he lets us go. Matter of fact, we're in heavy demand right now for our projects and everything, so I'm not sure. He's not usually fond of us doing anything other than his design work, so we will see. Projects, yeah. We will see what he says. You give us a list and we'll present it with him and see what he has to say.
In the end, it's going to improve the GPS that you're going to be getting anyway. I mean, that's something you could talk to Jared about. In the end, this is going to help out the geoid models, the datums, everything.
We understand that, but he's just worried about his projects.
I understand that. I totally understand that. He's looking, hey, I got to get my stuff done. This is what it's. Totally understand that. But yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll get all the paperwork together. This is what you need to do. What all that, and I'll send it up to you here this week or early next week.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, thanks, guys, for sitting in and tolerating us for a little bit.
All right. Be careful.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.